Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales of the Mystical. My name is Brooke and I am your celestial storyteller. Join me as we dive into stories about deep, transformative, spiritual, mystical experiences that have forever altered how we view this 3D reality we're living in. First, if you like these kinds of stories, go ahead and like and subscribe. You can also follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all at Tales of the Mystical. And if you have a story you want to share, feel free to comment below or email me at talesofthemystical@gmail.com. Today, I wanted to get into stories of glitches in the matrix or also Mandela effects. As we just had the Thanksgiving holiday, I think it's so interesting that we have this new Mandela effect where people are talking about the Thanksgiving holiday always falling on the third Thursday of the month. But now people are saying it's always fallen on the fourth Thursday of the month. So go ahead and comment below, which timeline are you from? For me, it was always the third Thursday of the month. These Mandela effects are always so fascinating to me as I've experienced so many in my life. I come from the timeline where the Berenstein Bears were spelled with an E, the cornucopia was on the fruit of the loom symbol, and Ed McMahon was 100% the spokesperson for the Publishers Clearinghouse. I've also had a couple of other experiences with Mandela effects that not everybody else has had. For example, the Dustin Diamond, the guy who played Screech on Saved by the Bell back in the day. I remember him passing away from an overdose years before he ever passed away. When we got the news, was it last year, I believe, or maybe earlier this year, that he had passed, I was like, well, that's weird because I thought he already passed away. So I found that really fascinating. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what Mandela effects you've experienced and any glitches of the matrix that you've experienced as well. So I'm going to share a story about the first time I ever experienced a huge glitch in the matrix. And y'all, this story is crazy. Like, I would not believe it if it hadn't happened directly to me. So I was leaving Target. I was with my old roommate at the time. We'll call her Sally. So Sally and I were in the car and we were backing up in the Target parking lot. We had just gone to get coffee and run errands. And we saw this car coming down the aisle of Target as I was backing up. The car clearly did not see me backing out. So I stopped because I'm like, oh my gosh, this car is not going to stop. And I realized I didn't have enough time to move my car forward. Like, this car was going so fast, they were going to hit me. They were going to crash right into the trunk. And my roommate and I like made eye contact and just started saying like angels over and over again. And y'all, my car literally dematerialized. Like, this car that was coming down the aisle of Target hit me. It ran through the car, like ran through my trunk, but it didn't physically hit it. Like, we saw with our eyes, the car like dematerialized. This other car drove right through it and nothing happened. Like, talk about a glitch in the matrix. I don't really know. Like, was it divine intervention? Did we switch timelines there for a second? Or were the laws of physics just defied in that moment? It was so unreal. And like I said, I'm so glad she was in the car with me because nobody would have believed this story. I looked at her after and I'm like, did we just see that correctly? And she said, yes, that car just drove through us. It was absolutely mind blowing. So that was our first experience with kind of glitches in the matrix, timeline shifts, whatever you want to call what happened there. Divine intervention, I don't really know. It could have been a combination of all of the above. This was around the year 2013, I believe this happened. So I've had so many experiences since then as well. The next experience actually happened with the same woman, with Sally. We were on our way to another store running errands together. Now, this was a few years after the Target incident. She always liked to have the windows rolled down. And I remember I would always ask why she likes the windows rolled down because it would be cold out, y'all, and we would want the windows down, or she would want the windows down. And I have some sensory issues. Okay. I'm a little neurospicy and I'm really sensitive to different sounds. So, with the windows rolled down, I can hear frequencies that don't normally bother other people. Like, to me, it's almost like the tires are running over speed bumps and it's just super loud when the windows are rolled down. So I always asked to have the windows rolled up because it hurt my ears, but she would want them rolled down. And I would then ask, why do you want the windows rolled down? And every single time without fail, she would say, because I need some perspective. And that would be it. And so this one day, we're driving down the street and she starts to roll down the window and she looks at me and says, "Oh my gosh, I have finally figured out why I like the windows rolled down." And I had the thought, if she says perspective, oh my goodness. Sure enough, the next thing out of her mouth was, "I need some perspective." And I just started laughing. I'm like, "You say that every single time we get in the car." And she said, "No, I've never said this out loud. Like, this thought just came to me for the first time ever in my life." So we chalked it up to maybe there was a timeline shift, a glitch in the matrix. One of us shifted timelines, where in one timeline she said that every single time, and the other timeline where she was from, she had never said it out loud in her life. I say this with a grain of salt because it could be, someone misremembering, but I believe there was a timeline shift or a glitch in the matrix, because to me it was clear as day. I remember for years and years and years her always saying she needed perspective. And the event itself, like, isn't that memorable, but the fact that she remembers and swears that she never said this out loud in her life. And I have this memory of every time we got in the car, she would say it, was just really mind blowing to me. So let me know what you think happened in the comments below. The next event, I was actually by myself in my house, and this totally blew my mind, y'all. I was wrapping gifts for Christmas. I was sitting on the floor watching holiday movies. I actually had Little Women on, the OG version with Claire Danes and Winona Ryder, and it was fantastic. I love that movie. I watch it every year while I wrap my gifts. And I had my remote control for the TV laying on my couch on top of a blanket. And while I was wrapping the gifts, my phone rang and it was my mom calling to chat. So I was looking for the remote to pause the TV because it was really loud in the background, and I could not find it anywhere. While I'm on the phone with her, I'm looking at the couch, take the blanket off the couch, look underneath the couch just in case maybe it fell down. Couldn't find it anywhere. Ended up walking upstairs to take the phone call because I couldn't find the remote to save my life. It was nowhere to be found. So I went upstairs and was on the phone for about an hour and came back downstairs. The movie at this point had finished playing and it was just on the screensaver of the TV. And I decided to look for the remote again. And again, I could not find it. Again, I looked under the couch. I turned my flashlight on. I took the blanket off the couch and just kind of gave up on it. So I went to make some food and came back as my food was in the oven. And lo and behold, y'all, the remote was sitting on the couch on top of the blanket where I had left it 2 hours earlier, like where I knew I had left it, where I had been looking. And I have no idea what exactly happened in those 2 hours. Like, I 100% believe there was a glitch in the matrix and it must have gone to another dimension because I can't explain it any other I'll go ahead and share one more of my own experiences that actually just occurred not too long ago, and then I'll get into some Reddit stories. So I have a corporate job and have a password protected on my computer, and we have to change that password every 90 days or so. We always get emails. I am a master procrastinator, so I always wait until the last minute, until the last day to change my password. So I changed my password, and then I used it to log into the computer for 2 full weeks, and out of nowhere got a password or an email saying I needed to change my password again. And I thought that's really weird because I just changed my password not too long ago, and I've been logging in with it. So I just went and like double checked the email that I'd gotten a couple weeks prior, and sure enough, I had just gotten it, just changed it, and thought it was really weird. So I decided maybe it was just a glitch in the system and waited a day or two and kept getting the same email. But again, it's every 90 days like clockwork. So I'm like, there's no way that it's time to change my password again. But I kept getting this email. So after a couple days, I went ahead and changed my password. But when I put in the new password, which by the way, I had been logging into my computer with for 2 full weeks, I also had the new password written down. It said that the password was not the same password. So I was like, what is this? So I decided to try to log in with my old password that I had just changed it from 2 weeks prior. And lo and behold, I got into the computer. I then entered my new password that I just changed it to a couple weeks before, and it worked. This is also weird because normally the system won't let you use passwords multiple times. It would have said, oh, you can't use the same password you just changed it from. So I don't know what the heck happened, y'all, because I was able to log in with the old password, change it to the new password, but I'd been using this for 2 weeks straight. I even, like I said, had the new password written down in a notebook. And after I changed it, I was able to log back in as usual and stopped getting the change password emails. And it was like I hadn't ever changed it 2 weeks prior. So let me know in the comments what you think happened here. I don't know if it was a timeline shift, a glitch in the matrix, maybe a computer glitch, but it just seems really odd. I've worked at this place for several years now, and this has never happened before. And typically, IT would come out with an email if this was a company wide computer glitch, but this didn't happen for anybody else. Nobody knew what was happening. So I think it was a glitch in the matrix. This next story I'm going to share with you comes from Reddit, and y'all, this story blew my mind. The commenter said, this story is so strange and bizarre and fascinating, I had to share it. She went on to say they were making pizza rolls for their kids and took the trays out of the oven. Each tray had 10 pizza rolls on it. She had a 6-year-old daughter who had autism, and when the daughter saw the pizza rolls coming towards her, she got so excited. She was jumping up and down and clapping her hands and was just super excited. As the woman was taking the pizza rolls to put on the plate, she stumbled and fell forward, and two of the pizza rolls fell off the plate. The daughter saw it and went to catch them, and they disappeared right before their eyes. Totally vanished, just like a magic trick, and they both saw it. And the woman posting said, I thought maybe I had mistaken and just thought they fell off the plate and just didn't see it. And they checked the plate, and there were only 8 pizza rolls on the plate. The 2 pizza rolls that had fallen off were nowhere to be seen. They looked all around, underneath the table, under the furniture. They literally disappeared right before their eyes. She went on to say her daughter was so upset they ended up having to make her 2 extra pizza rolls because they couldn't find them anywhere. Like I said, after moving the furniture, looking, the daughter continued to look for 20 more minutes and still nothing. So, wow. Thank you so much for sharing that story. That is a total glitch in the matrix if I have ever heard one. And it makes me wonder if these 2 pizza rolls showed up in another dimension, another timeline, just randomly on the floor of someone's house living in this alternate reality. That is So mind blowing. If anyone else has a story like this, go ahead and put it in the comments below. Share your stories. I want to hear from you. I'm going to go ahead and share one more Reddit story that, again, was totally mind blowing to me. This commenter said, at this time last year, I went to a tree farm with my family to pick out a Christmas tree, and I was wearing these sunglasses that I really, really loved. When we got back in the car, I realized I couldn't find my sunglasses. I looked everywhere for them, and I was super upset because these were one of my favorite pairs of sunglasses that I had. I searched the entire car with a flashlight, looked in my purse and my bag and everyone else's bags. Everyone was looking and we couldn't find it. So I just accepted the fact they must have dropped somewhere at the tree farm. And even though I was super bummed, I ended up letting it go and just gave them up for lost. Exactly 1 year to date of losing them. I got in my car and my AirPods fell out of my pocket. So I went to pick up my AirPods and there were my sunglasses. I have no idea how this happened because we looked in this spot multiple times the year before. I also have people detail my car regularly. So if the sunglasses had fallen and were on the floorboard, they would have seen it. I would have seen it. And I found it really interesting that this happened 1 year to date from losing them. This is such a cool story. Thank you so much for sharing. This is actually similar to something I experienced. I was at a conference out in Washington or Oregon State, and I had a blue lapis lazuli ring I had packed and I really wanted to wear. And I looked everywhere for this ring. I remember packing it in a certain compartment of my bag, and I was looking in the bag. I had my roommate look in the bag, and she couldn't find it. Like, well, we were out at this cabin at this conference, and so I had given it up and thought, I guess I didn't pack it. We were going to back conferences. So the next conference we went to was in Sedona. So we flew from Oregon to Sedona. And when I got to Sedona, I was looking for something else in my bag in the exact compartment that I knew I had packed this ring in. And lo and behold, there was the ring. I pulled it right out. And I was like, I have no idea what happened because, like I said, it was me and my roommate for the conference looking for this ring. It was nowhere to be found. So I don't know if it bilocated, again, switch dimensions, or what, if we had a glitch in the matrix, but I found it really fascinating. So y'all share your stories below if you ever had a glitch in the matrix, a timeline shift, Mandela effect, whatever it might be. And go follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Tales of the Mystical. You can also share your stories on my Reddit page at Tales of the Mystical. Email me at talesofthemystical@gmail.com. And be sure to like and subscribe if you like this video and want to see more stories like this.